We're talking now about probate and how to avoid probate. The only way to avoid probate is to get a living trust and to deed your house into the living trust. And an attorney can do a living trust. If you had to go through probate, which I'm not a fan of probate, I don't think anybody is. The problem with probate is a probate attorney is going to charge you 4% of the first $100,000 of the house. So that's 4 grand. And then another 3% for the next 100. So up to 200,000 worth of the property, he's going to charge 7 grand. Then he's going to charge 2% up to 800,000. If it's worth over 800, then he charges another 1% up to 9 million. And then after 9 million, it's a 0.5%. It's going to, bleed into your children's inheritance. And if you're leaving an estate to your children, a lot of people's houses have gone up in value. Maybe they bought the house when they were really young, and that's something that went up in value. And so your children are going to have to go through probate if you don't have your house in a living trust. And a trust attorney knows how to do a living trust, and they will deed your property into your trust. It's always a good idea to have a living trust. A lot of people wait till the very last minute, and I've seen it in my profession where they wait to the very last minute to try to scramble around and get a trust when the person is basically on their deathbed. And it's not a good experience. So nobody wants to talk about it, but it's a part of life. Everybody's going to die. I'm going to die, you're going to die. And so if you're smart financially and you don't want to put a burden on your children having to go through probate with your property, you need to get a living trust. And probate is a nightmare. Probate can take 6 months to a year or over a year. The probate courthouse gets over $1,000, and you have to get approval from the court to be able to even list the home on the market. You have to get approval from the court. The court's in control of your house. Whoever you're leaving your property to cannot do anything without going through the court system unless the house is in a living trust. And the living trust says specifically who the property goes to. Then you can avoid probate completely. So there's lots of costs to probate, and it's just way easier to have the property in a trust. Through my 34 years of experience, I've seen deals turn into nightmares. I've done probate before. I know how to do probate, and it takes a long, long time to get the court approval. It's just a nightmare. If you have a reverse mortgage, it can be a nightmare because if you have a payment that is due on, let's say, a reverse mortgage or a regular mortgage, that person has to make that payment while you go through probate. The mortgage company doesn't put everything on hold. So you're racing against time trying to sell the house and get the court approval. And if you can't make the payment, the house could turn into a repo. So you don't want the house to get repossessed because, again, that's another nightmare. So I had a friend, his father had a reverse mortgage on the home. And what happened was it took a long time because it was not in a living trust. And when you are on a reverse mortgage and the lender wants to get paid within 6 months, so it's a race against time. If you can't get the approval on a probate in 6 months, and then you've got this mortgage company that wants to get paid. So he had to go out and get an attorney to try to stop everything. Otherwise, the property, was going to get repoed because there was a payment on there that they couldn't make, and the mortgage company will repo that property. The reverse mortgage company, they will repo it. So be really careful on these reverse mortgages. Make sure your property's in a living trust. So, you don't want that to turn into a nightmare for your children if you're trying to leave them an inheritance. If you don't care, you don't want to leave them anything. Maybe you don't maybe you just feel it, you know what, let them deal with it. If you feel like that, then don't put it in a living trust. Let them deal with all the headaches later on. But like I said, if you care about your children and you don't want them going through that, it's a good idea to put it in a living trust or whoever you're leaving your property to. Otherwise, the probate's going to come in. If you pass away, it depends on how you have your house titled, of course, too, because if you're married and you have it titled as joint tenants, then of course, right of survivorship is going to kick in. So there's different ways of title. I'm not a title officer. I know certain ways of title, and how you have your house titled also plays into the fact of what happens to your property when you pass away. But if you're single and you're alone, if you don't have a living trust, you don't own it as joint tenants, right of survivorship, then it's going to go through probate without a living trust. And you need an attorney that will do a living trust. Do not do your own. That's the biggest mistake you can make, is to try to do your own living trust, because if it's done wrong, the court will kick it out. So that can be a nightmare too. So uh, attorneys, as far as what they're going to charge you, if you have 10 properties, well, yeah, they're going to charge you more money because they have to deed each property into the trust. And that's a lot more paperwork. If you only have one house, it's not going to be that expensive. And it's a good idea to just do it and get it done. And then it's over with and you don't have to worry about it. Good money spent. If you care about the people that are going to inherit your house, whether it be your kids or whoever, if you don't like your kids, maybe you shouldn't do a living trust. Let them deal with the headache when you pass away. I don't know, but that's up to you. I'm just giving you my point of view with my 34 years of real estate experience. I'm giving you my expertise point of view. But again, you need to talk to an attorney to do the trust, and they're going to charge something. Unfortunately, you're going to have to get out your checkbook and shop around. You can get estimates from different attorneys, and they're all different prices. I've seen attorneys do it for $1,000, and then I've seen attorneys do it for $5,000. It all depends on what area you're in. If you go to an expensive area, you're going to get an attorney that's probably going to charge you more. Go to Beverly Hills in the ritzy area, the attorney's going to charge you more than if you go to Riverside. So it's up to you what you want to pay. You might have to drive further, but you could probably get it done for possibly $1,000, $1,500 with an attorney. Put it on a credit card, or your child is going to inherit your property. Make them pay for it. Tell them to pay for it. I paid for my mom's. My mom was old, and I said, "You know what, Mom? I will pay for a living trust for you," because she did her own living trust, and who knows how that would have turned out. So I paid for my mother's because I think about stuff like that. We're not going to live forever. Nobody lives forever. Name one person that lived forever. I hope you have a good evening, and if you want more real estate advice, please like and subscribe to my videos. I am not an attorney. You need to check with an attorney. I'm just giving you what my expertise and what my experience has given me the knowledge to tell you. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day.